This is your first instructional video of this semester, and I'm going to show you how to use LexisNexis to identify a Supreme Court decision that'll work for your project this semester. We're going to use the library website, and there are pretty much two popular databases in terms of accessing progeny of Supreme Court decisions. The first is LexisNexis. You can either go to the L menu from the databases, and this LexisNexis Academic is primarily the one that we use. The alternative is Westlaw. I'm just going to show you. We're not going to use it this semester. Westlaw is very good for some things, but it's not as good for the positive treatment of decisions, and so we're going to use the good old traditional LexisNexis Shepardize function. But another option to do these kind of projects is the Westlaw database, which you guys have probably heard of. Let's go to LexisNexis and open this thing up, and then I can show you how to do a typical sort. So once you select the LexisNexis link, it'll take you probably first to a login menu where you have to enter your Oklahoma State email ID and then your regular password. But eventually it'll take you to this screen, and we're going to go down here to this look up a legal case. And so I gave you a list of landmark decisions in PDF form on the content menu under the Project 1 folder. And so I'm just going to enter a good potential landmark for something like this. It's Mapp versus Ohio, which is this major search and seizure decision. You know, we did Siegel and Spate in week 2, and so those decisions are all about search and seizure. This is basically the foundation or the most important landmark in the Warren Court on this particular issue. So you can do this a couple different ways. You can enter the U.S. citation, or you can enter the Supreme Court citation, the SCT. A lot of times the U.S. One isn't as accurate as the Supreme Court one. So I'm going to go ahead and enter 81 S period space court period CT space. And then the last part of it is 1684. And that's going to take me to a decision, or it should take me to the Mapp versus Ohio. And so here we go, Mapp versus Ohio, number 236, 81 SCT, 1684, argued March 29, 1961, decided June 19, 1961. So this is where we would go initially if you're checking out a landmark, and then we're going to do this Shepardize function. To Shepardize this Supreme Court decision, what we'll do is this next step menu over to the right-hand part of the window. And so all you do is you simply click on this thing and then go down to the Shepardize with the little trademark indicator to the right of it. And then we're just going to click on Shepardize and go. And so that's going to go out there, and it's going to go get a progeny of other cases related to Mapp versus Ohio. Once we get to this menu, then we're going to restrict and narrow and restrict by. And so I'm going to look for certain things. We're going to do our project this semester is going to be on the U.S. Court of Appeals level, and it's going to include this whistleblower thesis that we're going to talk about in a week or so. And so in order to do this, we're looking for about 30 decisions that stem from the U.S. Court of Appeals level. In particular, I'm interested in distinguished cases. Those are cases where they looked at Mapp and then said it wasn't applicable to the decision before them. And then I'm also interested in decisions that followed Mapp. So this is negative treatment of the decision, and followed is positive treatment of the decision. I'm then going to go through and I'm going to select the different courts associated with the U.S. Court of Appeals level, the primary ones anyway. We're going to do the 10th, the 11th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, and then we're going to pick up the DC circuit, and that's traditionally what we think of as the circuit court levels. There's a bunch of other court of claims and bankruptcy and some other stuff in there, but we're not really concerned with those. We're really concerned with the U.S. Court of Appeals on these different circuits. After I do that, I'm going to apply, and that's going to give me this printout, or it's going to give me this basically a report on the negative citation and positive citation treatment of Mapp versus Ohio. What I'm looking for here is I'm looking for opinions that are associated with the U.S. Court of Appeals. And so this is the First Circuit, but it's the district court. We're not really going to look at the district courts this time. This is the Second Circuit U.S. District Courts. So I don't have any U.S. Court of Appeals for the first or second kind of circuit. But when I get down here to the Third Circuit, you're going to see the U.S. Court of Appeals. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 8 different opinions, subsequent progeny opinions associated with the Third Circuit. And noted, you can see followed by cited and dissenting opinion, followed by Wade versus Yeager, followed by distinguished, followed by distinguished, etc. This one in particular may not be useful to us because it's cited in the dissenting opinion. What we are interested in is the majority opinion, and so this wouldn't necessarily be a good observation for us. But these others look like they're pretty good. If you go through, we got some Third Circuit U.S. District Courts. Those are fine, but we're not going to use them. We got the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, distinguished, cited in dissenting opinion. It's not going to be all that good for us. We might do something with those. Followed by, those are pretty good. Fourth Circuit, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, followed, and distinguished, etc. We keep going. Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals, Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals, Ninth Circuit, 10th. And if we go to the next page, we'll pick up the 11th most likely. Yeah, we'll pick up the 11th Circuit. We've got one there, and then there's a couple on the DC Circuit Court of Appeals. What I'm looking for here is I'm looking for about 30 case observations of progeny U.S. Court of Appeals U.S. Court of Appeals decisions. I think there's about 33 or 34, and some of those are dissents. But if we get in that 30 number, remember from week 1, that number, those kind of normal distributions start working about 30. Each of these courts will have 3 different judges associated with the opinion. So we start with 30 or 30 to 40 to 50, and then we multiply by 3, and then that will have that's the number or the number or the unit of analysis that we're actually going to do is the judge level. So we'll have more observations because we're going to have 3 judges sitting on each one of these panels.